So if you're going through a breakup, you may or may not relate to this video. I believe it is quite a specific example, but I'm sure there's some kind of value that you can get from this video regardless. It's essentially going to be me speaking from the heart about how I'm feeling, about where my perspective is at. It's a follow-up from my previous video, which is called Breakups Are Tough. And it's actually inspired by a comment that I had on that video by Stanley Power. I literally saw this comment this morning and I replied to it, and I ended up replying with a whole journal entry comment. It was a long comment and it felt good to, I guess, get some of that stuff off of my chest, if that makes sense. So I thought, you know what, let me actually record a video. Basically speaking about the same things that I outlined in this comment, probably reading the comment and like maybe adding a bit more or whatever it is on the video, because I do believe that it can be helpful for someone out there. And also, as I mentioned early on in my channel, it's like I want to be able to like share the raw authenticity of even things that are in my mind, even challenges that I'm experiencing, etc. And you're going to see some challenges in this situation and how I'm working on maneuvering that mentally and all that kind of stuff, so that ideally you may be able to relate to it, right? So he said, it's not easy. I said, I've come to realize that she's trying to forget my existence, probably to make the breakup feel easier for her. If you're in a situation where you are going through a breakup, yeah, or if you've been in one in the past and you're still, I don't know, maybe it's still a lot to you, I don't know, but you may notice that the lady that you're breaking up, like the lady in the relationship, basically your ex, the person that you're going through this breakup with is what I meant to say, is trying to remove your existence, trying to forget that you ever existed. And obviously that's a hurtful feeling to experience, to see that, I guess, the relationship that we had isn't being cherished, essentially. And it's just like negative energy around it. It's not a pleasant feeling, right? But I think if you see it from the lens of this is that person's attempt at trying to, I guess, process the breakup and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of understand it from that lens and you can kind of accept it from that lens, I guess. I wrote, most likely she somehow managed to paint me as a villain in her head and has negative energy built up around me. This is an interesting one too, because a lot of the times what happens, from what I've observed and from just thinking and reflecting and all this kind of stuff, not just in this relationship, but just in general, that's what I would say. A lot of the times, especially, like, bear in mind, when you're the type of person I'm speaking to on this channel, by the way, is the type of person who is a wholesome individual, who is a gentleman, who treats women with respect. And if you're the kind of person, as I said in my previous video, who's out here disrespecting women or being like toxic towards women or whatever it is, and cheating on them, like all these different types of things, then again, you can respectfully like get out. In fact, disrespectfully, I don't actually care to respect your opinion. This isn't for you. But specifically for the person that is more of a wholesome person and really cares and really strives to be the best version of themselves for the person that they love, it's a challenge. It's a lot of the times in a breakup, in that situation, even when you've been treating them well and all this kind of stuff, and you know that if there was an issue and they came to you with an issue, then you would work to resolve it and all these different types of things, it's likely that through that breakup, that person is going to create an alternate version of reality, essentially, in their head, in order to help them process the fact that actually, like, you were a good man and you didn't do them anything wrong, they're going to oftentimes create this villain arc in their head. Now, again, that's a tough one to deal with, especially when you know that you have that person's best interest at heart, and they see you. They see you in the head in some kind of way. Like, I've had a situation in the past, right, where a lady that I was in a relationship with, and we had broken up and that kind of stuff. Again, it was all wholesome. It just wasn't making sense, right, for us to be together, right? And she created this whole villain arc in her head about me. And then she started bugging out and all that kind of stuff. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. But down the line, she then realized that actually the things that she was thinking in that moment were not accurate at all. Like, literally at all. She realized that it was pure wholesomeness on my side. But in that moment, it was helping her to try to, I guess, again, forget about me and move forward and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's like the guy who tries to move to a lady and she rejects him, and he's like, "Oh, you're ugly anyway." Like, he tries to create some kind of justification as to why it's like, okay, well, I didn't want to talk to you anyway, right? Or a situation where sometimes, again, it's a wholesome situation. Maybe, I don't know, they're already together, and then for whatever reason, it just didn't make sense for them to be together anymore, whatever it is, yeah. And again, like, a lot of times both parties would do this, and they would just see this other person as like this complete entire villain, all that kind of stuff. So understanding that could help you process when that is happening. It's still going to be tough. It's still going to feel a bit like, damn. But if you can understand it, that it's kind of a self-preservation method, and that it doesn't necessarily mean that you did a mad thing, it can help you maintain sanity. The next thing I said is the idea of that hurts. So the idea of her somehow managing to paint me as a villain in her head. And this is my perception. Again, like, everything I'm saying here is honestly my perception. May not even be, I don't know. I haven't spoken to her. Do you get what I mean? And the last time we spoke, there wasn't no beef or anything, but just from certain observations, this is where I'm coming to these conclusions, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, the idea of that hurts, especially knowing that I really did try to help her and stood with her for time, right? It's like when you're in a situation where, like, you've been there for this person, right? And you've been there not out of obligation, but out of pureness in your heart of wanting to be there for that person and caring about them and loving them. And then again, having that now for like, oh wow, you're just trying to erase my existence when I'm just, do you get what I mean? I said she can never say I didn't give her the opportunity to try and make us work, and I find solace in knowing that. I find solace in knowing that because I know that I tried. I know that I tried. Ultimately, when given the option to try and fix things for us or to part ways, she chose to turn her back on me the moment shit got real. I'm not going to get into the details, by the way. But this is, I'm just going to speak about how I'm feeling, right? Yeah, so I'm not going to get the details on exactly what I mean by that. But, so seeing this and seeing how she's trying to erase the memory of me, I've made peace with that and let her go completely. At the end of the day, the way I see it, yeah, if you're, I guess, willing to like try and like work things out and all that kind of stuff, and the other person necessarily isn't. Um, it's just like you kind of got to let go. Like realistically, like you for your own peace of mind, for your own sanity, you kind of have to. It's tough, but you kind of have to. Especially again, this person is trying to erase your existence. This person is deleting your comments and all of that kind of stuff. This person, you know what I'm saying? Like these different types of things. And there's other details as well, but just these different types of things, right? You kind of just gotta be like, you know what? Especially again when you know you've tried. You kind of just got to recognize. Hold on. In fact, I'm gonna get to that point later. Not gonna lie though, the walls to my heart were already guarded, and now they feel even more guarded because I'm like, damn. Can I really trust these women to actually stand by me physically when things are challenging? That is a challenging dilemma because this is a lady who I trust a lot in a lot of ways, or at least trusted. Wow, like we're in our relationship and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, I mean, from an emotional perspective, it's like I trust that, like I trust in her loyalty and all of that kind of stuff, right? And even that in and of itself, I feel like, and this is how I feel currently, in our society right now, finding someone that you properly trust in that regard, that they are actually going to, number one, be loyal. Because you see, that I got a song called Trust Issues, right? And in the song, I describe a story, which is from, it's a real story, where a guy, he was married for like 10 years or something like that. And this bumbleclout woman, yeah, was cheating on this nigga for like 3 years or 2 years or something. I don't remember the full details now. Some of those numbers might be slightly off, but it was something along those lines. And I'm like, bro, that's crazy. Like, bro was really out here. Like, it's mad. Like, it's actually fucked. So to find somewhere where you have that confidence and you know what, okay, this is someone that I can actually trust in that regard. It's a blessing. This is someone that I can trust that, I guess, is gonna consistently at least care about me whilst we're in the relationship at least. I think it's challenging to have that trust. I already had that challenge of having that trust. And that's basically what I broke down in that song. But she was able to overcome that I guess that wall that I had around that, right? But now comes a new wall of, like, that wall is still there. That wall is still there. But now the other level of trust is, can I actually trust that you actually support me physically, and on top of that you, not even just me, but as in that you will support us, like you will support the shared vision that we have, and that you will actually take it seriously. Or that, let's say for example, there's a challenging situation, that you would actually like be down to step up and help out. That is an interesting one. That is a very interesting one. Because, for example, there are, I don't even want to get into too much of the details. So yeah, I'm not trying to like say like too much specifics. But ultimately, yeah, that trust side is that's something that I'm dealing with now in terms of like just, let's say for example, yeah, in the future I want to get into a relationship. Yeah. It it's gonna be like the barriers are gonna be quite high, to be honest. Um, in terms of, again, really knowing, okay, this person that I can really trust, I can really count on, I can actually rely on this person to follow through with like what they're saying and all of that kind of stuff, and to act in alignment with our shared vision, like the vision that we have, and that when I'm doing the stuff that I know that I need to work on and do in order to support our future, that this person is also going to do the same, and that if things are challenging in the moment, that again she would be down to work on that, like to work through the challenges type thing. Um, so yeah, she will have to be a very, very, very special lady for me to actually trust her, like in all of these different ways, because the lady I'm speaking about now was already a very special lady. Um, so it's like now she like she it's just crazy, you know, like it's just a madness. Um, with some of these, like you see some of the women that let me not even, like, let me not even get it too much. Anyways, I said, because the way she was so quick to give up trying to save our relationship, even when I gave her the space to try if she wanted to, is crazy to me. And this is someone who was calling me her husband and shit. Like, where the heck is your fighting spirit? Like, to me, that's a bit wild. I was about to say something, but I just remembered I basically wrote that later, so I'm just going to continue reading. Brother, she even got me a promise ring. Bro, like, she got me a whole promise ring. Talking about, yeah, like, I'm committed and this and that. Yeah. One thing I realize is that it's very easy to commit with words and to commit with like one-off gestures, if that makes sense. It's let me not say it's easy, because it is still definitely appreciated and it's still great and all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's like committing with consistent execution and committing with like being down to like have the, okay, yeah, I know that I need to do this and this because it's important for our future and for our goals. That's a whole different ballgame. That's one thing I really realized here. I guess the moment I'm asking you to follow through on the things you've been saying you're going to do for a year, that promise goes out of the window. And that's a crazy world, LMAO. It's a bit mad. I can't lie. It is a bit mad, right? As I really deep it, because it was two key things that we needed to work on, for us to, like, for it to be able to make sense for us and that kind of stuff. And these two things, I really don't want to get into too much, but I said, seeing that helped me even more so realize that we're not aligned, because I want to be with a woman who's actually down to fight for what she loves, someone who steps up against adversity rather than someone who steps away from it. When we were having a conversation, or a few conversations that we were having around like breaking up and all that kind of stuff, it's like, one thing that she said to me was that there's no point in her saying anything because I've already made my decision and this and that. Right? This is in one of the conversations we had. It was multiple conversations that we had, right? And it was like, in that moment, I was like, that's I don't know, but it's like, where's the fighting spirit for the the relationship that you're saying you love this man and this and that, blah blah blah. Like, where's the actual attempt to even, you get what I mean? Bear in mind, in that conversation, I did not come with a, oh, like this is this, like we need to do, you know what I'm saying, like we need to break up or nothing. It wasn't actually that. That's not actually what I said. It was more of a conversation of pointing out reasons why it seemed and felt to me strongly that we weren't aligned, and that I wasn't the man that she needed me to, sorry, that I wasn't the man that she needed me to be, and that she wasn't the woman that I needed her to be, to have him. But it wasn't a conclusive statement. It was again, these are the reasons, and we had already had a conversation similar a couple of weeks prior. And it's like, in that conversation, I was talking about how I felt alone, in the sense that, not emotionally, but in other ways. Again, without getting into specifics, but essentially though, it just felt like when it came down to like us building towards our future and all that kind of stuff, it really did feel like it wasn't both of us putting that effort in, essentially. And breaking that down and all that kind of stuff, and then like speaking again about it and all that kind of stuff, it's like the actions that we had discussed at that time, like they hadn't been followed through on, right? Now granted, there were things that she, like other things that had come up that she had to do with and all that kind of stuff, but there was a good at least 5 days or so that those things weren't there. Do you get what I mean? But anyways, the point there is, even after a conversation, like if she came to me, if she came to me and she was like, oh, you know what, I'm feeling alone because of this and this, or even just, I'm feeling, I don't know, like just whatever, like some kind of issue with how she's feeling, to me, that's something that I immediately need to work on and resolve. And we need to like speak about it. We need to see how we need to have some kind of plan around it. Is it just a conversation, and is everything all good with the conversation, or is it okay? There's an action that I need to change, and it's not like, because for example, one of the things that she has said is, oh yeah, it's only been 5 days, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's just a difference, I guess, in the way that we see it. But to me, it's like, damn, if this is the person that I love and that's how they're feeling, like I even if it's challenging, understandably, I wanna make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to help that person not feel like that. And then in a follow-up conversation where it's like, okay, at this point, it's like, it's seeming like, because again, even from that conversation, like it hasn't been executed on for the most part. It's seeming like when we're not, like it can't make sense, right? And again, her response to that isn't, okay, yeah, now let me do this, whatever. It's, oh well, like it seems like you made your decision. Not even it seems like, you've already made your decision, so there's no point. And that's very interesting. But actually, I'm not gonna say that. I said, so again, if she told me, wait, did I say this part? If she told me that she was feeling alone in our relationship, oh, I actually wrote this, I was basically saying this now. If she told me that she was feeling alone in our relationship because it felt like she was the only one building towards our goals, and that if things didn't change, she wouldn't be with me, I'd work to rectify that immediately. But when I say that to her, it's too much pressure. and it feels like I'm picking at her. Because basically, I basically said to her, look, like, really think about it. Like, don't make these changes. That, bear in mind, the two key changes that we were speaking about were things that from the beginning of us knowing each other or meeting each other, from the beginning, she had said that these are things that are important to her, right? Like, she brought those things up to me. So they're not things where I'm like, oh, like out of the blue, oh, well, like, you need to be doing it. It's not that. It's following through on, because these are things that were already important to me, but that I saw it as, you know what, I understand. She's been through more than in certain regards, more than what a lot of others will have gone through. And the fact that she's even been able to pick herself back up from those things mentally is amazing in and of itself. And it can take a bit of time, it can take a bit of support to be able to like get you like on the things that you're saying that you want to do. But I believe in you, and I believe that if you're saying that these are things that are important to you that you're definitely going to do, okay, I know that they're important to me, and I know that you're not necessarily on them yet, but I'm going to believe in the fact that you're going to stand by what you're actually saying. So as I'm doing that, and I'm supporting all that kind of stuff, it's like, I forgot where I was going, but ultimately though, yeah, like I knew these things were important, but I believed in her that she was going to follow through. I believed that her not doing certain things wasn't actually, like it wasn't who she really wanted to be, type thing. I really forgot where I was going. I was gonna wrap that up with a strong point, but is what it is. Yeah. So ultimately, when we had this conversation and stuff, I'm basically like, look, like really think about it, like really deeply, like ask yourself, is this really, isn't it going to be too much pressure for you? Like, is this really, can you really see yourself sustaining these things that you've been saying that you want to do but haven't been doing? Because if not, like, granted, I did break it down in a very much like, because bear in mind, this is at a point where I'm like, a couple of days prior to that conversation, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, I can't, like, there's no way that we can make this work. But then it's like, okay, I saw certain things and I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe we can, right? So this is like, all right, you know what? Like, I have to break it down in like the most direct possible way, because when I broke it down 2 weeks ago and I told her that I felt alone, all that kind of stuff, it didn't seem to sink in. So it's like, in like another attempt of me trying, it's like I gotta like just break it down in the most detail possible so she can fully understand. But at the same time, knowing that, again, I'm breaking down, look, like if you don't sustain these things, we're just gonna end up in the same place. So you gotta think to yourself, because I don't want you to be operating based on feeling like it's too much pressure for you and that it's stressing you out and all that kind of stuff. That's not sustainable and that's not healthy to be in. Like you should only actually do these things if it's like a standard that you want to set for yourself and that you see yourself setting and you see yourself sustaining, because otherwise it's going to feel like too much pressure, because then in a few months time, in a year's time or whatever it is, you're now feeling like, let's say you're now feeling overwhelmed with it and you don't want to do those things anymore. It's like, knowing how important those things are to me, like, and to our goals, the goals that we're speaking about, it's like, it's not going to make sense. And it's a lot of goals that, it's a lot of, basically there's a lot of things that I'm doing, yeah, in order to support the goals that we've discussed, areas that I know that I need to work on, all that kind of stuff, so that we can get to the shared vision that we have. But then when I look at the flip side again, it didn't really feel like the effort was necessarily there. Right? But anyways, she was also saying that it felt like I was picking at her and things like that, because of how I was breaking down. Like there's not really any follow through. I did break it down in very much a way that would feel emotional. Like, it wasn't no aggressiveness, nothing like that, and she did say that. It was just the same way I'm speaking now, the same way I speak, right? But obviously, as you guys can probably tell, I tend to articulate things quite well. And if I'm articulating a problem, and I'm very much a direct person as well, especially after months of like just supporting and like literally, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like this is like a final attempt of like trying. It's like it was very much direct. It was very much like a real raw reality check that was very deep. But it wasn't any. It was about, okay, like this is essentially where you're not following through on the things that you're saying, and it was just a bunch of just showing, right, that was the case, and showing the issue with that, and how that would be a problem, and how if that isn't resolved, then it won't work with us, type thing. So naturally, understandably, hearing that is going to feel emotional, is going to feel it's going to feel it's going to feel emotional. Like if I'm being called out by the person that I love on things that I know that I'm not doing, things that I know are true, right? It's going to hurt. Like, it's going to be like, damn. But it's going to be like, okay, I need to step up and actually do these things. And that was like, I just couldn't see any other way that I could like have that conversation without just saying, okay, now we just need to break up. I didn't want to say that. I wanted us to be able to see how we can make it work. Anyways, yeah, she basically said that it felt like I'm picking at her and this and that, and it felt like there was always going to be another thing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm basically saying, look, it doesn't make sense. If that's how you feel, and that's how you feel. Like basically, she mentioned that on a previous conversation before. I said, like, again, go think about all that kind of stuff, man. And I'm like, look, like, that's not what it's like. You got to think, these two things that we're speaking about, it's nothing new. It's not like there's just always going to be a new thing or nothing like that. Like, these are just two key fundamental things that we've spoken about multiple times, and that I already expressed the importance of, at least on one of them, and you've expressed the importance of both of them, of yourself. And it's like, that's not the reality of the situation. It's not about like picking on things and this and that. It's about trying to make this work. But that's how she felt when she came back, and she had, again, even after me saying that to her in the initial conversation, when she came back and she said, look, no, it's too much basically pressure for her and stuff like that. And it feels like I'm picking at her, and it feels like it's always going to be something, and like it would stress her out, like these kind of things. Not necessarily exact wording that she used, but it was something along those lines, right? So I'm like, that's a bit mad. Yeah, it's a bit mad. Again, I'm just going to repeat that. If she told me to summarize, because it's a good summary of what I just said. If she told me if she told me she was feeling alone in our relationship because it felt like she was the only one building towards our goals, and that if things didn't change, she couldn't be with me, I'd work to rectify that immediately. But when I say that to her, it's too much pressure and feels like I'm picking at her. Right? Which again, I told her, look, think about it. Like, really, I didn't want her to even just, again, in the moment, be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna like just work on the things that like we need to work on, all that kind of stuff. She told me a bit about her plan over the next week of like stuff, like how she was gonna work on the things that we discussed. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, that sounds cool. I'm down to like see how we get on, type thing. But I'm like, look, you gotta decide if you're down though, right? Because again, if this is too much, me personally, I don't want to be in a relationship where the person that I'm with feels like they're just pressured. Like, that's not healthy. I don't want to put someone that I love in that situation. So if that's how you're gonna feel, whilst I may not, again, I may see it differently, but if that's actually how you feel, then we shouldn't be together. Because I'm not gonna have anyone in any type of toxic relationship where they feel pressured, or like they feel pressured to to, I guess, follow through with what they've been saying and all that kind of stuff, and they feel like, unless that pressure is a good type of pressure, right? Like if they feel like, if it's a pressure where it's like, yeah, I feel the pressure, but it's like a good thing and they're charged up by it, then cool, I don't mind that. Because it's the same way, like, again, if she's saying something like that to me, it will feel like a bit of pressure, but it's like, okay, I know that these things that I'm saying that I want to do, these are actually standards that I do want to set for myself. So I'm going to use that as positive pressure to inspire me to actually do those things, because I know that this person genuinely loves me and genuinely wants the best for me, and is actually here having a conversation. I was about to get charged up. Having a conversation, trying to actually see how we can make it work. And they're actually like, you know what, even though I already told you I felt alone and nothing actually like really and truly changed in that regard, for let's just say a week, let's just say 5 days, right? Even though, yeah, let's just say 5 days, for example, like things didn't necessarily change in that regard and all that kind of stuff. It's like, to me, by the way, 5 days is a decent amount of time after that kind of conversation. In her perspective, to break down her perspective, she said like it's only 5 days or whatever. But again, anyways, I forgot what I was gonna say. Next point, I said it's fucked because I would have supported her more than she could have. I would have supported her more than she. Why did I word it like this? I'm gonna say it differently. It's fucked because I would have supported her more than she ever could have imagined. I had already been supporting her, but once I could see that she was supporting me how I needed to be supported, that support would have been multiplied. It's like, it's just crazy because I just think about like all of the things that like I would have, I guess, done for her and been there for her and all that kind of stuff. It's like the amount of support that I would have given her if she was just willing to try. The amount of effort that I would have put in, and the amount of effort that I've been putting in general, she knows this. Outside of the past couple weeks, for example, she probably has a warped perception also, I would imagine, because now that I think about it, like over the past couple weeks, since we had a conversation where I'm saying that I'm like feeling alone, all that kind of stuff, it's like my energy hasn't been the same, right? I say past couple weeks, I mean like the past couple weeks before that conversation or whatever. But it's like my energy hadn't been the same because I'm not one to fake energy. And it was definitely like seeing that things hadn't seemed to be being changed. It was like I was feeling type of way, but I also knew that she had some other stuff that she needed to sort out. So it's like I'm not gonna like speak to her about it right now. And I also need to let at least some time pass to like give her the opportunity to like do something or whatever. But it's like, yeah, I was just my trail of thought went again. But yeah, I was just not. Yeah, I guess I just didn't. It didn't seem like it was making sense. Again, I completely forgot what I was saying. I don't even know if that sentence finisher even made sense. But yeah, in terms of the whole support side of things, it's like I would have given her a lot of support and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it's like to see that again when things get real, and it's like, okay, we actually gotta follow through on the stuff that we're actually talking about. That's when again you're not down to even actually follow. Again, bear in mind in that conversation I've said, okay, cool, your plan sounds good, like let's see how we get on over the next week or whatever. I've given that space to say, okay, like let's go for it. Like I've given her the opportunity to actually try if she wants to, and I've left that to her to decide. I'm not gonna force someone to try, but I am gonna, someone that I love, I'm gonna try myself, and I've tried, and I'm gonna support as much as I can. But ultimately, when it's got to a point where it's like, yo, we gotta have this actual like conversation and really see like, yo, like if it's got to the point where if this isn't fixed, like, well, it's not gonna work. At that point, it's like you gotta decide if you want to try or not, and if you don't, then cool. Live and learn though, I guess. I definitely learned a lot from our relationship, and I'm grateful for the experience. And then I said, thank you for your comment, because it actually inspired me to get these thoughts out of my head. Felt like a journal entry. Then I said, shout out to her though. I do love her, but I'm not gonna hold on to someone who doesn't seem to have it in them to fight for us. She's honestly a great woman, and she'll be the perfect wife for someone else who she's more aligned with. Yeah, that's basically the situation. Yeah, I'm at a point where it's just like, you know what? I realize, okay, cool. Like, she kind of, oh yeah, see, when you really think about it, she actually turned her back on me in that moment. Again, granted, I understand it would have been emotionally charged, which is also why I was like, look, think about it, come back to me whenever you need to, whenever you want to. Right? Genuinely think. Like, think if this is like, I don't want you to like go based on excitement or just like, okay, or pressure or not. Like, think about it, make your own decision. And to leave that and then have that come back as, okay, yeah, well, I don't want to try. Yeah. Because bear in mind, again, I was willing to try, right? Which is why I don't feel like bad or anything. Like, I felt bad initially because I was thinking, damn, like I don't wanna turn my back on her or anything like that. But then I realized that that's not what I did, because I did give her the option, like, genuinely. And on top of that, the amount of time obviously I've been there, like, supporting with the stuff, like helping, like, again, without getting into details, it's a bit mad. It is a bit mad. And again, it's just like, okay, cool, you're saying all of these things, but then the moment that it's like, hold on, we actually need to, like, if you're actually, all these things that you're saying, if you're actually on them, like, we need to actually do them. And if not, then it's just not going to make sense. All of this talk for a year, or let's say 6 months or whatever it is, 6 months since we got back together because we had broken up before, a year since we initially met, right? It's like, it's just a bit mad. It's just a bit mad, innit? But again, I'm personally good. I think, again, as I said, I found solace in knowing that I tried, and I recognize that if she's trying to delete my existence and all that kind of stuff and whatever story that she's created in her head, I just know that I tried, innit? And I just know that I can't continue to hold on to someone who isn't willing to try, because sometimes, there can be challenges in life and you need to be with someone, or at least for me, this is one thing I realized, I need to be with someone that I can trust, that when those challenges do arise and when that adversity comes or whatever it is, like, that we'll be able to work on that together. Not just on things that require talking, but on things that actually require doing. Because again, in that situation, it's tough. That's an adversity-filled situation where we've had this conversation and it's like, damn, like, that hits. I've had situations where, not even in a relationship, but in a mentor of mine, like a mentor of mine, where I was talking a lot. This was, I think, about 2019. I was talking a lot, saying things that I was going to do and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, yo, like, he was much harsher with me. Flipping heck. He was like, like, he was basically like, something about, like, all you do is fucking talk. Like, you need to actually, like do it. Like, because I don't care what you're saying anymore. Like, don't ask me questions. Like, just actually do the things, because you keep saying you're going to do this and do. I was like, damn, shit, nigga. That was tough. But at the same time, it inspired me, Obviously, it's a different situation because that's actually my mentor and that. But it's to say that I know that in that situation, like, it's not a good feeling. It's not. But when you know that it's actually weighted in truth, it's like, damn, okay, yeah, I do need, like, doing these things is going to be better for me, and these are things that I've been saying that I want to do. Like, you kind of got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, that's an adverse situation, but are you going to step up to it? And are you going to say, okay, you know what? No, let's go. Like, I'm down to do that. I know that this is the person that I am deep down, and I know that, again, I've been saying that I want these things. I've been saying that this is so I know that that's me, and I'm not worried about the pressure of the fact that if I don't sustain these things, then it's going to be an issue, because certain things that like I do and all that kind of, it's like, I don't think I can say that without getting into the details of it, actually. Maybe. So, like, if there's certain things, let's say for example, lady, let's say for example, she said to me, oh yeah, I don't know, like it's important to me that you need to like do this things that I've been saying already that I want to do, that I like, it's me, like I want to do these things, and it's like I hadn't been doing them, I'd been procrastinating them or whatever it is for whatever reason, etc. And again, granted, in her situation, like there were real reasons why she couldn't do certain things at certain time, but it's like it's with consideration of those reasons and with consideration of her saying, okay, yeah, like even with those reasons, like okay, everything's good with those reasons now, and she's gonna at least do this step or this step, like these smaller steps that we already built that she wasn't doing. Do you get what I mean? But anyway, it's cool. Let's say she said this to me, and it's like, yeah, well, like it's kind of a non-negotiable type thing. It's like if you don't sustain these things, it's just going to be a problem, and we have to really like think about whether or not we're on the same page. If like these are things that you want to sustain or not. If these are things that I want to sustain, and that I've been talking about doing like for time, to me it's like, okay, yeah, fuck it, let's go. Yeah, it feels like a bit of pressure, but it makes sense. It's things that I wanted to do anyway. It's things that I know are going to be better for me, and it's actually supporting me to move forwards to become a better version of myself. So like, what the fuck? Like, why wouldn't I? Like for example, let's say it was like, oh, it's important to me that you're consistently on gym, because over the past few months, I've only really been on martial arts. I haven't really been on gym properly. So let's just say, for example, that was and I started again this week, by the way. But it's like, let's say for example, there's it's like, okay, cool, like it's important to me that you're, I don't know, like doing strength training as well as martial arts or whatever it is. Like to me, it's like, okay, cool, like that's what I want to do anyway. Like I know that that's good, and I know that it's important for me, and I know that it's better for me, and I know that that can help us towards our goals in the future, because me gaining more muscle, me gaining more size is actually going to be better for our children. It's going to be like, there's so many reasons why it's going to be better. Right? So it's like, okay, fair enough, like I can understand why that's something that's important to you. Like we definitely need to get that done. So that's just a random example, by the way, just an example of if there was something that needed, and I brought the example of something that I haven't consistently been doing over the past few months or so, as much as I know that I should. So it's like, yeah, that's basically why I give that example. But anyways, that's pretty much the situation. That's pretty much the comment. Yeah, just wanted to share that. Ideally, it's been helpful. If you watched all the way to here, then shout outs to you, because this has been a long video. I actually need to get back to doing flipping heck. Look at the time. I need to get back to doing what I need to do. It's Sunday right now. I've got some stuff that I need to do for my sales job, right? So yeah, I need to just catch up with some stuff, some trainings and things like that. I was planning to go cinema today. I went cinema yesterday, watched Black Phone 2. I can't lie, that was a mad movie, you know. It was actually quite mad. Went with my little cousins. But I want to see him. I want to see the new Jordan Peele movie, because I don't even know what it's about. But when I see Jordan Peele made a movie, it's like, yeah, let's go. Anyways, also, yeah, if you're in a situation, you're going through a breakup and that kind of stuff, yeah, and if you can relate, which I recognize it is a quite specific use case, because a lot of the times, relationships, the reason for breakup is a bit different. Maybe it's like, it's a lot of times someone's done a mad thing or this and that. But if anyone can relate to something like this, then ideally it helps find peace in just knowing that, okay, like you tried, and if you haven't tried, then try. But yeah, find peace in knowing that you tried. And if again this person is trying to delete your existence, I think perhaps respect yourself enough to just like, you know, okay, cool, it's clear that this person doesn't want to try her, and that's cool, right? I'm gonna focus on my thing. Simple as that, right? Again, so long as you try it, right? It is important to try. Like, don't give up on people so soon or things like that, because at the end of the day, there's gonna be challenges in relationships, and you gotta overcome them. But bear in mind, again, there's a lot of context I haven't given you, but there's been a lot of trying, like with certain things. But it's like, yeah, you gotta try. If this is someone that is, again, like special to you and things like that, and also don't try not to make decisions emotionally. My next video, as I said, is about emotional intelligence, coming soon. I recorded that like last week or whatever. But it's a good video, and it actually links to what I've just said now that I think about it. I wasn't speaking about relationships in that video, but a lot of the times people make emotional decisions. Which is why, for example, in that conversation, I'm like, look, like, think about it. Like, really think about it. Like, take it in. Whenever you want to come back to me, like, come back to me. Do you get it? Be careful when you make decisions based on emotions, because it can actually, like, mess up. Like, mess things up for you in ways that you would rather them not be messed up, if that makes sense. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I was saying earlier as well. I think I didn't finish saying it, which is that, oh, no, it left my mind again. I was chasing it. While I was saying it, I was like running, like in my head, I was trying to find it. Yeah, no, I've forgotten. Yeah, seems like it's gone. Oh yeah, no, I remember. So again, my energy had been off for those past couple weeks or whatever it is. So it's like in her head, perhaps she's like, because she said something to me, yeah, that I didn't touch on, because it was at a point where it's like, okay, this is after when I've told her, look, like, think about all that kind of stuff. But she's come to me and she's like, oh, look, yeah, it's too much pressure, da, 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 da. And then I just let her speak, like she was breaking down whatever she wanted to break down, and she was saying something about how, something about not feeling emotionally supported. And I didn't ask her about it, because again, it was at a point where it's like, okay, if that's how you feel, then we're breaking up anyway, so there's no point in trying to rectify that thing that's on your mind, because that could be the thing that is something that you can hold on to help you actually get through the breakup or whatever it is. So it's like, you know what, there's no point. I'm not going to say anything. Me saying anything would just be to serve my own ego. Like, there's no purpose. It wouldn't be helpful long term, or it would be to make her feel better in the moment or whatever it is, but it's like long term. I just realized that it probably wouldn't be helpful. But it's like, it's nothing that she had ever said to me before. So it's like, it's just come out all of a sudden, and we can, but whenever there's an issue, we communicate it, right? It's like, okay, now I'm feeling like this, da, 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 da. So it's like, she's created this picture. It's like something that she's never come to me like, oh, I don't feel emotionally supported. She's actually said, I'm very emotional, like, I'm very much supportive in that way. So I was like, bro, that's crazy. Obviously that felt a type of way, because I'm like, damn, like, I don't want to not be emotionally supportive. I was thinking, okay, cool, like, I need to definitely work on that, if that's the case. I would have liked to ask more about it to see like what the specifics were, but it's like, felt like I was quite emotionally supportive. But again, the thing is, again, if she would come to me and say, in the past, if she would have come to me and said, oh, you know what, I don't feel emotionally supported because of this and this, guess what I would do? Fucking work on it, bro. Like, okay, yeah, I love you, I want to make this work, and I don't want you to feel not emotionally supported, so let's find out, like, what do I need to do? Okay, cool, here's my plan, this is what I'm gonna do, and da, da, da. And it's literally, you get what I'm saying? It just makes sense. Or it's, again, sometimes it's a misconception, and it's through a conversation we realize, okay, no, actually you have been emotionally supportive, I was just thinking that. But if it's a case where we have a conversation, it's like, nah, this is actually something that I can do, and this is something that I should do, then cool. Do you get what I mean? But it doesn't, the only way I can make sense of it is, right now, is based on the past couple of weeks or so, because I definitely haven't been emotionally supportive over the past couple of weeks. 100%, I agree. Because again, I've been very much distant, hadn't really been speaking to her, hadn't really been calling her. But the reason being is because I didn't want to hop on the phone with her and my energy is going to be off. And now she's going to ask me, why is my energy off? And I'm the kind of I'm very much, one of my key things that's very important to me is honesty. In general, in life, like, you're not going to catch me out here lying. But I mean, again, I say especially, but again, it's in life anyway. But on top of that, also in a relationship, honesty, right? So if there's like something that's like, my energy's off, I'm not saying, oh no, it's just, I don't know, like, I'm gonna have to answer. I'm gonna actually answer it. Do you get what I'm saying? Especially when it's such a significant thing. And I didn't want to, it didn't feel like the right time to speak to her about that yet. Again, she had some other stuff that she had to deal with, and I didn't want to add to the extras, like, you know what I'm saying? And also I wanted to give her a bit more time. But again, it was just like, my energy was definitely off, like, during that. I would agree with that. So I'm thinking that potentially she's created this villain arc about that based on the past couple of weeks or whatever, because I've been pretty much like much more blunt, I guess, not in a rude way, but just in a way of like, I can't, like, it's just about, it's like, damn, like, I've told you that I felt alone, and like, you're not like you're saying you're gonna do this and that, and you're not doing it. It's like, it was hurtful to get it. So like, I'm not gonna come with the same type of energy, not out of pettiness or nothing like that, but just because it wouldn't feel authentic. It wouldn't be authentic. And I also didn't want it to be a situation where in the past we had broken up before, initially, and the way it was a thing where there was an issue that I realized, and pretty much the next day I was like, I went to her house and I was like, look, like, yeah, we can't do this type of thing. And it was very much abrupt. And that was a mistake on my part, because one thing I learned from that is, again, like with relationships, like you gotta like maybe talk things through on multiple occasions, all that kind of stuff, if there's an issue, so that you can try to make it work, because you could potentially make it work, right? And after we got back together, I basically like broke down, look, like, I recognized that because she mentioned that to me, and that's where I learned it. I mentioned, look, if there's an issue again in the future, I'll make sure that I come to you and we speak about it, and we speak about it multiple times. Yeah? So we did. We spoke about it multiple times over a couple of weeks or so, right? And bear in mind, like, outside of that, like, we've spoken about it, but not in the context of, okay, like, this is like, we may break up over it, but in the context of like, yeah, these things are very important, like, we definitely need to do them so that we can get to our goals, all that kind of stuff. But cool. And even some of those things we had spoken about in a similar kind of context, but again, I won't even get into it. But it's like, as we're having these conversations or whatever, I'm trying to remember my trailer thought. I don't know why my trailer thought keeps leaving. I haven't eaten anything today, maybe that's why. To know. Flip. Not ideal. I was speaking about how she, okay, my energy was off. Yeah, my energy was off. So she's probably created some kind of negative, story around that. But my energy was off again because it wouldn't have been pure for my energy to be on point type thing. There was something else I was going to say, but I did forget, but it's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much the situation. And it's like, I recognize that and it's cool. I accept that. But oh yeah, the emotional support thing, like, I don't know if it's outside of that she didn't feel emotional support, but again, it's nothing she's ever come to me with. And anytime there has been an issue, like, we have good communication. So you can see how it's like pretty much out of the blue. It's like, oh, well, yeah, no, it's too much pressure for me. And also, I feel like you're picking at me and I don't feel emotionally supported. And it's like, what? But again, to me, I'm like, okay, look, if that's how you interpret this whole conversation, this whole thing, bear in mind, oh, that's what I was going to say. I basically approached this based on wanting to make sure that it doesn't, like, it's not so abrupt and it's not just a decision like that or whatever it is. It's more so, let's see how we can actually work on this. Let's see how we can actually do this. Because it was based on what she said that she wanted, right? And now, I guess partially because we've had this conversation multiple times, she feels like she's being picked on. So it's like, how, I can't win. Like, the time I'm just like, okay, cool, boom. It's just not making sense. We have one conversation, or the time where it's like, let's have multiple conversations. Let's see how we can make it work. And the things still aren't being done. So I repeat them. It feels like you're being picked at. Like, do you get what I mean? And because you feel like you're being picked at and there's always going to be another thing, it's like, oh no, actually it's too much pressure for me. I don't even want to try. To me, again, seeing that's a bit mad. That is a bit mad to me. And it really did like help me see, like, right, that's crazy. Because if you can't even like try for us, like, you can't put in the work for us, like, when I say put in the work, I mean do the things that we spoke about, that you've spoke about needing to be done and that we've spoken about together. it's like, yeah, it's not going to make sense, because again, what about in a situation where there is something that's actually tough that we actually got to like work on, like outside our relationship, that we got to come together and both execute with that. It's like, can't really trust that, and there's only so much you can do yourself. Might as well just be single type thing. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, that's pretty much the situation. Shouts to her. Definitely appreciate our relationship. Definitely appreciate the lessons that I've learned through it, and definitely appreciate the experiences that we've been able to share, the love that I've been able to experience from her. She's an amazing lady, and as I said, I believe that she can be the perfect wife for someone else who she's more aligned with. That's what I said in the comment. I believe that. I believe that. She's a great woman. But yeah, I'm definitely more. My heart is definitely more guarded. It's not impossible to penetrate, but it's definitely more guarded. Seeing how quickly you can just turn your back on the person that you're saying that you love. I haven't heard from her since then, right? Turn your back, and I haven't heard from her since then. Turn your back on the person that you're saying that you love. Delete all of the comments that he's made on your page. Block him on Snapchat. Pretty sure she blocked me on Snapchat. And again, some other stuff. But it's like, yeah, like it's very interesting. I don't know why she would block me on Snapchat as well, because it's like, don't even use Snapchat, you get. But anyways, yeah. This has been my journal entry. Pretty long one. I don't know how long this video is actually. I don't know what time I started recording, but I just know that the time is much later than I thought it would be right now. Anything else I want to say? Since it's long, I might as well just continue waffling on. I'm good, by the way, guys, in case anyone's, because I know obviously when you're going through a breakup, it can be tough and all that kind of stuff. I would say before I had this realization, it was definitely tougher. But honestly, like, seeing that she's like turned her back on me in that regard, when things were like, okay, yeah, we actually got to step up and do these things, it's like, I think it gave me a much different perspective, and I feel very much like, again, very much at peace. I guess, again, before I was seeing it as, right, am I turning my back on her? I don't know if maybe she sees it like that, but again, it's like, there's no way that point can be argued, because I gave her the opportunity. And it's real things. It was not just like random things. Like, it's real things that are actually important for us to actually do the things that we need to do, that weren't being done. And it's a prolonged period of time that hadn't been being done for. And all that basically said is like you actually got to follow through on the stuff that you're saying. Otherwise, you get, like, it's not going to work type thing. That's the ultimate bottom line. So I basically asked her to follow through on who she's saying that she is, and that's when she's turning her back. So that to me is a very interesting one. No drama though. It's all love. No beef. It's just, again, it's like, I guess it's more hurtful than anything. It's not like, oh, why didn't you try? Like, it would have been challenging. It would have been challenging for her, because it would have been, again, there's a reason why she hadn't done the things that she'd been talking about wanting to do for a prolonged period of time, because it's challenging for her. So I understand that. But it's one of them ones where, yeah, I guess it is something that's important, and if we can't do it, and if you can't like step up to it, then it's just not going to make sense, is it? But yeah, I think that's about it, to be fair. I think I'm done waffling. Might put a video up on the screen. I'll put a YouTube recommended video. One that YouTube recommends that you watch. Outside of that, stay tuned for the next one. I'm about to get back to the grind. Actually, I need to eat some food and that. Probably edit this video, but I'll probably do that later. when I say edit this video, obviously, it's all one take, but I just, I do a little bit of color grading and put some music on, some little piano music or strings or something so that it sounds more emotional. But yeah, life is good. If you're going through a breakup, just remember that there's hope on the other side, and remember that, again, remember that you tried. Again, this is specific for a specific type of person in this video, so just remember that you tried, yeah, and find peace in your heart knowing that. And when someone's trying to erase your existence, I don't know, there's certain situations where maybe it can still, like, you can still try, but I think in some situations it's like when you've tried so much, you just gotta, like, honestly move on from it and, like, accept it and realize, okay, you know what, this person, for whatever reason, they are trying to erase my existence. They are trying to forget about me, which obviously when you're going for a breakup, like, so a lot of people, that's going to be a, like, good way of doing it or whatever. But again, it's off the context. It's with all of that context, it's like, it's a bit mad, isn't it? When you've been down to try and that kind of stuff, and they're like, nah, it's too much pressure. And it obviously cool, maybe if we had a further conversation in that moment, and if I maybe addressed some of the points, maybe she would have been more done. But again, the whole thing is I don't want her to be in a situation where she feels pressured, because that's not the vibe. Like, to me, again, negative pressure. So if that's how she feels, I'm not even gonna rebuttal anything, because she's probably just gonna feel the same way again after, when she's actually doing it. And that's not healthy. I don't want to put someone in that kind of situation. So I can love you from a distance, and just, you know what I'm saying, like, hold that love in my heart, I have that care, but then also at the same time, again, if you're trying to delete my existence, baby, it's not, I'm gonna just have to keep it moving, honestly speaking. With that being said, on to the next one. I can't lie, it's lit. YouTube videos still popping out, still gonna be coming through, and that's about it. I'm flipping hungry. Learning with Lamar, you've been tuned in. I'll catch you in the next video, which will be much shorter, and it will be much more direct value, and you will learn a lot from it. So feel free to check out the YouTube recommended video you see on the screen, and I'll catch you in the next one. Big love. And by the way, my album is dropping real soon, within the next few months. January the 1st, it's going to be mad. Can't lie, came back from the studio yesterday, vibes. Straight positive lyrics, you know the vibes. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Peace.